Look who finds their way up into the lead that quick.
Trouble on track early here with the 6. It looks like getting into the wall just a little bit off of exit. And yeah, unfortunately, Jonathan there just barely tapped the wall, and then following so closely behind, Joseph Amato went ahead and hooked him. Looks like the 6 and 28 should be okay. And we are going to be going racing here shortly.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Really unfortunate to see those drivers get into each other so soon. But here at Darlington, there's one lap. There's pretty much one track line. Everybody wants to take it, and we just see these two cars get a little bit close together. I'll tell you what, though, Brandon, it's nice to see the 28, Joe Amato, on the track. There was a little bit of concern that he wasn't going to make the race. He got into an argument with one of the vendors over how much onions and chili was on his hot dog, and the police were brought in. So it's good to see Joe back on the track.
You know, domestic violence with hot dogs can never be a good sign, but I am so glad that Joe was able to find a happy medium and get out on Darlington's raceway and try to tame the lady in black.
Yeah, you know, the temperature's got to be rising on the track and also in that car. I see a lot of activity on the race chat once that occurred, but everybody seems to be calming down. Other thing I'd like to talk about is who we favor in this race. Last year's winner, Nate Maurer, in the 971, he quickly found himself back up into the lead. He's last year's champion. He's last year's race winner. I think that might be the guy we're going to need to watch today, Brandon.
I think you are correct. I would have both eyes glued to the broadcast with Nate Maurer because he is very smooth when it comes to Darlington. I would also like to just put out that with a decent qualifying effort in the top 5, and also currently running 4th right now is Sean Walton, the 23 car. I believe that just from watching him, I think that he could be a contender if everything goes right. Now, if this goes long and green, I don't know if Nate's going to give anybody a decent line. He'll take that air away and he'll run away with this thing, in my opinion. But, you know, who knows? This place, you got to race the track, you can't race the other competitors.
The man is an absolute master here at Darlington, as well as many other tracks coming off last year's championship. And as you said, this is a one-line track, and so some people might have to make their own fate as far as getting by the other individuals. When you look at the leaders in points, often these men have the most incident points, and it's not because of the damage on the back of their bumper, it's the damage on the front. So if somebody thinks they're going to get by Nate Maurer early and easily, they could be mistaken. They might have to make their own luck and use that front end.
Well, Nate Maurer, he was able to capture the pole. The lights are off. They're coming into 3 now. So after an exciting few laps, let's see what he can do on this restart, and let's see how the rest of the field fans out. Is anyone going to try to pressure him right here in the starting laps? Or maybe is everyone going to just kind of tuck in line? We'll see. Lights are off, pace car is off, and we are getting ready to go green for the second time here at Darlington with Nate Maurer leading the field.
Dropping the hammer, we see Maurer in the lead on the inside. The 957, David Cook outside of him. 66, Matt Tucker. The 951 of Chris Cornett in 4th on that outside. And we quickly see Maurer push out to the lead. 3-car single file as we see these cars start to try to find a pace here at Darlington.
And it looks like we're pretty clean. Everyone fanning out, finding space, giving space, and just trying to get a few laps under their belts here at Darlington before things get a little out of hand.
Seeing some nice clean racing here as the top 3 cars trying to pull away about 5 spaces between Maurer, Tucker, Cook, and before they get into that 4th car of Chris Cornett. Chris Cornett, he is a champion from another series, so that's another driver that you're going to want to keep an eye on, the 951 Monster Energy drink.
Yep, nope, Chris is a rookie here, but I've heard nothing but good things about him, and it shows week in and week out.
Really good racing here so far at Darlington. as we see them closing around on the track. Top three still maintaining position, as it looks like these drivers are just trying to figure each other out, and that ever-changing track temperature as well.
And that's the greatest thing about Darlington, is not only do drivers get to say, hey, I got my hands full with the track itself, but what can you do? What can you teach me? What can you show me that, maybe I want to learn, maybe I want to follow, maybe I don't want to do that. So that'll be interesting to watch these guys throughout the field learn each other while they're just trying to survive the Lady in Black.
These early laps, they're starting to figure out the track, but what about those tires? How many laps do you think you can watch them run on these Goodyears until we start to see tire wear become an issue?
Well, and that comes back to the track temperature and also how hard they're really pushing it. If they are going down low and running that line and floating to the top, they're going to be using a little bit more tire than they probably want to. Also, are they steering with their pedals? Or are they steering with their wheel? You know, here at Darlington, you really, really want to use your brakes and your accelerator to a point where it's almost steering the car for you. And if they're able to do that at a decent pace and go slow in, fast out, they're going to be able to save their tires a little bit better than the guys that are trying to stay low or ride the outside and just try to gain speed, because the guys who are watching their tires as far as how hard they're turning the wheel and all the things, those guys are going to be able to hold on. If they're not, and you're not treating the car the way it should be treated, you might have tire fall off as soon as lap 10.
Not the position you want to be in on such a tight track. Pretty amazing to see how close these drivers are getting to the wall right now, whether that's the fastest line or they're trying to save those tires as they feel each other out as the opening laps of Darlington go by us. Going to be interesting to monitor as we see just how far they can push these tires. Again, the 971 of Maurer still in the lead, 66 Matt Tucker in second, David Cook 957 running third. These three cars with that gap over the rest of the pack. Everybody's still running single file as we are here at Darlington.
Yeah, if we watch David Cook here for a little bit, we'll notice that, he is 3/10 off of Nate Maurer, but he's running just a little bit different line as Nate. Although he is behind him, he's searching just enough to find a little bit of clean air to help him get through the corners, which is very exciting to watch. And I want to see if he stays a little higher throughout the run to see if A, he's saving tire, B, he found something that we don't know about, or C, he's just following Nate to learn his ins and outs for later in the race.
And we're doing the in-car with the 957 of David Cook. They're right to something, but look at him poking his nose just a little bit different, how the air feels, and also setting himself up to know how the car is going to react if one of the cars in front of him gets a little bit too high or too low, gets tight, starts to dip. He'll get that slingshot, go right by him.
Well, it'll be interesting for sure, and that's just the greatest part about this track is you have so much it's just so much to watch, and all these drivers have their hands full, and they can't just pass willy-nilly like we would have seen at a mile and a half or even a mile track. This track doesn't allow any mistake, especially when trying to pass. Be interesting to watch, and as it develops, I'm here for the ride. All right, so we see Nate Maurer crossing the start finish to start this lap 17. He's still in control of this race. And, listen, we kind of knew this was going to happen. We know that Nate is very good here. He's very calm, cool, and collective, and that's what we love about him. But I'm just iffy about him getting out a little too far in front. But, oh, we have a caution. Caution on the racetrack. See if we can find it here. All right, so it looks like the 32 of Bryson Dotson and the 69 of Christopher Knott got into a little bit of a heat here. Let's see if we can just go back and watch it. So, yep, as we see here, running side by side through the corner. And unfortunately, my replay of it goes out. Maybe you guys can see it on screen, but it looks like everybody's going to be okay. Bryson Dotson is now in the pits getting that 32 machine worked on. So that'll bring out a caution, and we will see what the field decides to do. Are they going to come down, change out some tires? Are they going to stay out and try to save some tires for later on in the race? And as we see here now, the lucky dog is getting ready to come by. And I'm having trouble seeing who that is, but we'll figure it out here in just a moment. Try to give you guys a heads up. So while we're under caution here, I'm going to say a special shout out to David Owens. David Owens is someone who loves to race. He is a great racer, great competitor, a great guy overall. He's in the 11 machine. Unfortunately, he's in a Ford, and I am biased. I am a Chevy guy. But in all seriousness, we just want to say thank you to David Owens for keeping the league together, glued together. And he really, really, really does a lot for everyone involved. And we're very lucky to have someone so special to us. So David Owens from the Owl's Nest booth, we want to say thank you to you, and we wish you the best of luck.
What a caution there as we saw the 32 just ride right up into the other car. Man had nowhere to go. 32 made contact. Lots of damage to the 32. I think that might be the end of that man's day.
Well, I wasn't 100% sure because my replay wasn't showing the exact extent of it. And that's, I absolutely hate to hear that for Bryson Dotson. I know he is a rookie here, but a lot of good things are going to come out of that 32 car. I'm excited to see it happen. And you're right. This track will take away all your momentum in a heartbeat.
So again, we are under caution here as we see Nate Maurer still leading the pack around. Matt Tucker, David Cook, Chris Cornett, Sean Walton, your top 5. Something to keep an eye on the track earlier. I did hear a little bit of gossip in the pits between Sean Walton and the Rooster Robert Babcock having a little bit of beef. We talked about this earlier. Going to be interesting to see who they respect more, themselves or the lady in black.
Yeah, that will be interesting. If I know Robert Babcock like I do, which isn't very well, I will say he has a good head on his shoulders, and I don't foresee him disrespecting the lady in black. Now, as far as competitors, I'm not sure, so we'll have to see. So the pace cars are off, and it looks like the 971 of Nate Maurer chose the outside line. Can you tell me any reason why you think he wouldn't want the bottom line as we're getting ready to go green?
Well, we did see him and a majority of the cars riding on that outside lane as the more preferred lane. I think he just wants to be there first. As we see him leading the cars around, Maurer on the outside, Tucker on the inside, as we are about to pass the flag man, and we are going green here at Darlington.
971 and Nate Maurer with a great jump. He's going to go ahead and lead the rest of the field through turn 1 and turn 2.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a caution on the restart. A little bit of chatter. Looks like the 53 and the 98 might have got together.
Yeah, it looks like they are just not giving each other any room here, and this is so early to be getting upset here.
Bollinger quickly into the pits. Volp is still trying to make the way around that. On the comm from Jax Duval and Joe Amato as well, probably giving their 2 cents as to what just happened in this situation.
Yeah, this is a very, very big accident. It didn't just collect the 53 and 98 here. It looks like the 28, the 8. I mean, this is not what you want to see this early on in the race. But we've collected a few cars here, and that's just unfortunate for all involved.
Ooh, look at Joe
like
Amato, nowhere to go. If I was to ask you what kind of steak Joe Amato likes, I think the answer would be T-bone, as he's just going to drive right into the side of the white car.
Yeah, just nowhere to go, and that all comes from, again, like you said, we're racing the track, but we're racing our competitors and trying to learn them, and maybe that's just it. The 98 just doesn't know the rest of the field as well, and Joe is a great driver. I have no issues there with him, but Colin, being the rookie here, he hasn't raced with these guys. I know that he felt that he had some room, but it looks to me that he just came up a little bit, which, I mean, at that point, are we hitting the fence on the outside, or unfortunately causing an accident here?
Oh, and you can see there on the replay, the 21 of Sully just side door right into the water barrels of the pit row entrance as he tries to milk and nurse that car back around the track.
Yeah, I hate that for him, but hopefully he can get it in his pit stall. The guys can get working on it, and he can get back out there just to at least accumulate some points for the evening.
Absolutely. Amazing turn of events here as we saw Volpus just get pinched up against the wall and see that accident occur.
As we're under caution here, can we talk about some of the drivers who, they qualified decently, just outside of the top 10, but they have fallen, and they are they're a little further back, and I don't mean to call them out, but Jonathan Casebeer,
that's my favorite name.
Casebeer, there we go.
Casebeer.
He qualified 12th, but unfortunately, he's just not had the luck. He's down 15 laps, which, is more than half the race right now, sitting in 27th. And then also a lap down is Joseph Amato due to that caution. He qualified 13th, but currently sitting at 22nd. So, I hate it for those guys, but, long race.
Absolutely. Other drivers you might want to make note of, Jax Duval qualified second. Looks like he's dropped down to about 12th position currently. And I'm hearing from the pit that Jax Duval actually is going to be done for the day as they are bringing his car back towards the trailer. Copy. So Duval's still in the race.
But maybe just behind the wall to get some things fixed, but that's all right. Let's take a look at our top 5 here while we have a second. Nate Maurer, Matt Tucker, Chris Cornett, David Cook, and Sean Walton. The same 5 guys we've been talking about. I'm waiting for Robert Richards to get up there, maybe Alex McWhorter, David Brenner. It's going to be interesting. I have no doubt that those guys will make it up there quickly.
Going to be interesting to see how this restart goes. Coming off of that caution, all the drivers need to have that in their mind, the smallest mistake, trying to force the issue. Nobody's given an inch right now. Everybody is a champion from whatever series they came from before this, whether it was another iRacing series, a Whelen modified, heck, Heat 5 for the Xbox. These guys are all champions. Pace car off the track as we see Maurer leading them around turn 4 towards the flagman start-finish line. We are going green, dropping the hammer as the 971 of Maurer pulls an advantage over the 66 and the 951. 951 trying to make his way up behind the 66. Single file, David Cook lets him in. The 957 running fourth, and the 23 of Sean Walton. The same top 5 drivers we've seen for the last lap going there. 957 starting to peek his head underneath Cornette.
And as they exit 4 here, they're still looking inside here a little bit. And it looks like, unfortunately, with the bad exit for the 957 of David Cook, he's going to fall back just a little bit, allowing Robert Richards and Sean Walton to sneak right past him. But those top 3 drivers of Nate Maurer, Matt Tucker, and Chris Cornette slightly pulling away from the rest of the field.
Rest of the field going single file here at Darlington, trying to find that upper preferred line as they're putting laps on here, trying to fight for position and find where the best line will be for them. Nate Maurer still running strong. He's got a good 3-car length advantage over Matt Tucker. Chris Cornette behind him, and Walton, who did sneak by Cook, is now in 4th. David Cook 5th. Still waiting to see if Robert Richards and the 15 of Alex McWhorter can do anything against these top 5 strong cars.
Yeah, and as we look through the field, everyone is single file, playing a little bit nicely. I'd like to see a nice long run here. Get these tires a little warm. Let these guys struggle a little bit. As we watch the number 2 here, Robert Babcock make a pass on Robert Richards, it looks like. Or, I'm sorry, David Brenner. And he's going to make that pass.
Nice move right there as we see Brenner trying to use that high line. Little bit of contact right there.
Oh, caution. Caution out for the 99. Caution is out for the 99 here. Got into the wall. See a replay of that.
That is a disadvantage of riding up on that high line, is at any point those tires could wiggle and send your right side right into that wall as we see him hitting on the Boeing backstretch.
So it looks like the as we're looking here, the 15 gets into the 99, and I believe Alex McWhorter, unfortunately, is going to get an EOL from race control here for causing that caution.
Well, that is one of the things we do here to try to maintain a little bit of discipline, is if you're the fellow that caused that wreck, you are going to get that end-of-line penalty sending you to the back. And as we all know, anybody that's run at Darlington, track position is paramount. You do not want to lose positions in the pit. Look at that replay. You can see the 15 spun him around.
Yeah, and it looks like maybe a little love tap early, and then probably should have got out of the gas there. And that's where it comes. You have to remind your driver, and I know these crew chiefs and these spotters do their best, but that's where you have to remind your driver, hey, we know you're trying to get position. We know you're racing hard, but remember, you're racing the track. And I think he just got overzealous there, and unfortunately ended up spinning the 99 and going to have to go to the end of line here.
Multiple cars now coming into the pits, taking opportunity of this yellow flag to perhaps get fuel or fresh tires on there. We see Vulpes spinning around, getting ahead of that pace car, ahead of the field, as he'll zip around Darlington and come around to the back of the field. Vulpes a lap down, you know he's excited to get that lap back.
It's always a great feeling when you can have a little bit of just unluckiness, if you will, and then you get that lap back and you're back in the game. It's a great feeling. I know from personal experience that sometimes when you're a lap, maybe even 2 down, at a place like this, you don't hope for a caution because you want a clean race, but also you're not upset when you get one either if you're that lucky dog candidate.
Well, Brandon, I actually come from the Kyle Petty School of Racing, and the only time I get by somebody is when they crash on the track. So I often was looking for that caution opportunity to sneak on by, or when they had a bad pit stop and maybe overdrove their exit. But these drivers that you're looking at here today, a lot more experienced, and they're using that veteran savvy on the track when they can. And as you can see, MRL administration coming down really hard and sending McWhorter to the back of the field. And here we are, lap 32 at Darlington, as the pace car is still leading them around. Some of these drivers did take tires. So a good question that I want to ask you, Brandon, is
Yeah.
when are the top 10 drivers going to come in and take fuel or tires? I see a lot of the back of the field coming in, most notably Matt Novella. That guy's been red hot in that 56. And Andrew Bolander as well, Hunter Manley. These are some of the guys that did come into the pits. These top 10 drivers, though, is track position that important? These stage points that they're fighting for, you think they're going to just push it to the limit and see how long they can stay?
Well, if I had to put any trust in any 4 or 5 drivers after what I've seen these first 30-some laps, Nate Maurer, Chris Cornett, Matt Tucker, they must be saving because they look like they're doing great, and they're not willing to relinquish that lead just yet.
Those stage points, ever important. We're running 3 stages here tonight. Winner gets 10 stage points. Regular season, every position is only 1 point separating each of them. So if you can find yourself winning a stage, them extra 10 points for your regular season total, really going to push you up that leaderboard.
Well, as we see the pace car diving in, why don't you take us to 1 there, Mean Gene?
Here we go. The 971 of Nate Maurer still in the lead. Chris Cornett on the outside of him. Maurer choosing the inside lane this time as they pass that start-finish line, and we are green here at Darlington.
Chris Cornett and Matt Tucker side by side going into 1. It looks like, could Matt Tucker possibly, is he going to slow it down and give it to him? He is.
Absolutely. I think we see the 951 right there with a little bit of wisdom by letting off and just letting that 66 of Tucker come in. But that let 23 of Sean Walton tighten it up, and there is no room for error for Matt Tucker in that 66 or the 951 of Cornett, as we see those 3 cars just tight, and the 23 of Walton dipping down again below, trying to make a move.
He's going to make that move into 3rd place for the 951. And I'm sorry, he has not made that move yet. I thought he was going to take it there, but maybe he's playing the long game.
There's a reason that these top 5 drivers have stayed in the top 5, and that's because they know when to give and they know when to take. And that's what we see these top drivers doing, not taking that chance. I would rather let off a little bit and let you win lap 36 than both of us make contact, and I find myself in the back of the field wondering if I'm about to have the kind of day that Jonathan Pace-Beer has had 27 laps down.
You're absolutely right, and just there we saw the 66 get to the wall and a little bit of contact between him and Matt Tucker, Sean Walton, and so Walton's going to make that pass on the 66, and
Walton is on fire.
On absolute fire.
That driver was in 5th place just a few laps ago, makes his way through Cornett, makes his way through Tucker, finds himself in 2nd place. Can he chase down our leader, Matt Maurer, running on a rail right now as we are at lap 37 here at Darlington?
I had an opportunity to talk to Nate Maurer just prior to the race, and I told him, I said, Nate, I really like you here this evening. What can you tell me? Oh, we got 4.
We're almost 3 wide here.
There it is. All right. Yes, sir. The 2 of Robert Babcock. We haven't talked about him much, but look at him moving up. And he might have something tonight for the old 971 and Nathan Maurer.
Oh, the Rooster is not to be underestimated. Robert Babcock, he is chasing down as hard as he can. Again, I told you there was a little bit of beef between Babcock and Walton, and how much of this is him trying to win the race and how much of this is him trying to get into the rearview mirror of his rival. Caution on the track, lap 39.
It looks like the caution's going to come out. I don't know if it is for the number 5, but the number 5 is definitely involved here. It looks like he was going on the inside, and maybe just... Yeah, it looks like Chris Morrill, one of my good friends, coming out of 4, just came up a little too high. Thought he was clear. Maybe a spotter issue there out of 4. We'll have to check with some of the spotters. And unfortunately gets right reared into the lane. I'm sorry, into the fence, and goes for a spin at the start finish. Looks like a little bit of damage on the front end, but hopefully he'll be able to continue.
That was really close, as it looked like he might have come up. Not a lot of room for that outside car to make a move. You can clearly see the 69 up against the wall. He's riding that rail. The 5 is below him. 69, nowhere to go. Looks like a racing incident between the two. Really unfortunate, as both those guys were running about as hard as they can. And that's going to have the number 5 come back in.
Well, I don't know if that caution's going to take us to the end of the stage here. I'll have to double check. But it looks like that everyone except a few might have pitted here.
I see Sean Walton and the Rooster Babcock still out there on the track. These rivals not willing to give it up yet. Let's see if they're going to bring it in afterwards or not. Looks like Walton is coming in.
Well, while we're under caution here, we are going to go green again, and it's going to be a quick one because lap 45 is going to be our stage here. So we'll go green. If I had to guess, I've been watching Nate. He's restarted on the bottom and the top, and I just feel that he gets a better jump on the bottom to where he can clear whoever's in second to his outside and get a good run into 1. And then by the time he's exiting too, he is gone like the wind.
Absolutely. He's going to get the jump. Everybody's going off of his lead as far as when they're going to drop the hammer. And I think that does give him that opportunity. That restart zone, that gives you the chance to delay your acceleration until the last instant or gun it right at the beginning, depending on what your competition is doing. But Maurer on this restart, his competition is going to be Sean Walton. And that guy is got to be one of the fastest men on the track right now. Going to be really interesting as we see them run these last couple of laps. Looking at lap 45 as the end of stage 1. What's going to happen between Maurer, Walton, and let's not forget the Rooster, Robert Babcock, right behind these two with Chris Cornett finishing off row 2.
Now, as soon as I'm confident in something, it changes. It looks to me that Nate is probably going to choose the top here. And if that's the case, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do like the fact that he is going to the top because that might give him a little bit of more of an advantage going into 1. Just maybe getting to use up his whatever he's saved of those tires left. Even though I do believe with him being in the 1 spot, he'll get a good jump and probably win the stage here. But crazier things have happened.
I think it's going to be fascinating to watch as we see. And, oh, my rivals right underneath each other. The 23 being on the bottom is going to put him right in front of Robert Babcock. It's going to be interesting to see how aggressive or how passive they are. And, oh, my word, look in row 3 on the outside. Our series champion, David Owens. That's a name we have not said all night. All of a sudden, we see David Owens sneaking up into the top 6.
Yeah, and I know we're getting ready to probably go green here, but while we're talking about these top 10 drivers, look at Andrew Bolander. Started 20th, he's in 10th. Hunter Manley, 15th, he's in 9th. Let's see, Matt Novella started 14th, he's in 7th. David Owens, like you just said, started 10th, improved to 6th. So I know these are important stage points, and I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this thing, we're looking at Richard Swingle or Thomas Fox maybe sneaking that top 10 to grab a point. All right, and the pace car is off here, so why don't you take us into 1?
And we see Nate Maurer leading them around. He's on the outside lane. He is in first. He is the target car. Sean Walton in second. And they are in the restart zone. And look at that jump Maurer gets. He's bringing the 951 of Cornette with him as they pass the start-finish line into turn one.
It looked like the 11 of David Owens got a little loose there, possibly starting in the wrong gear, got into the wall, and he is just getting eaten up alive now. But if you look at the front with Nate Maurer, he is getting all that he can handle from Chris Cornette.
Cornette going to go down below him, trying to find a shorter route. But Maurer on a rail on that outside, holding the throttle, and the 951 is forced to follow in behind him. And Sean Walton in the 23, it's his turn now. He's trying to charge these three cars. Caution on the track, lap 45.
Well, that's going to be our stage in there. I'm glad that they let that go a little bit longer, because I just wanted to see if Nate was going to run the high line out of 3 and 4, and he did. And it looked to me that Chris got a little bit tight, but man, what a great race. I hope that they learned something. Obviously, Nate very comfortable here. He trusts himself, he trusts his car, and he's able to run that high line. But Chris Cornette looked a little tight. Maybe he learned something after this first stage to really give it a go.
I think what we learned, though, is these guys can run 45 laps of gas and tires and make their way around the track. At least Nate Maurer can. We'll have to see about the cars further back. Cornette, though, strong run, forcing his way up into the second position. Great stage points for him. Sean Walton, Robert Badcock, and Matt Novella's going to get fifth place points. Good for him as the 56 finds his way into the top 5. All of them coming down for work in the pits now.
And those 6th to 10th spot, David Cook, obviously not where he wanted, but he's in 6th. Andrew Bolander started in 20th, got some stage points in 7th. David Owens started 10th, saved it after a little rough start on the restart there, going to finish in 8th. And then David Brenner started 9th, finishing first stage 9th. And looks like the 10 is going to be, I'm my timing and scoring is a little bit messed up, but congratulations to the top 10 there, and we'll look forward to seeing stage 2.
Yep, driver's now down in the pits. I've got an eye personally on Nate Maurer. Going to see what he's going to do. Looks like he's filling up that car. Right side's coming off. Definitely going to have to take 4 freshies and a full tank of gas. 15 might be coming out before him, though. What did Alex McQuarter do to find his way out first?
Yeah, the 15 is going to beat the 971, and Alex McQuarter is no stranger to the front of the field. This could get interesting quick.
Yeah, remember, the 15 did receive that EOL penalty earlier, kind of taking him out of stage contention. But I think he took that opportunity to get 4 fresh ones and fuel. That way on this round of pit stops, he possibly needed less fuel, no tires. Finds himself out there quick with that 4.3 second pit stop, Brandon.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think he took his tires early, probably just filled up there, and it could have something to do with these top running guys, because his tires are going to be a little bit worn and probably going to be a little bit slower than the guys with the fresh tires, but the tires are cold for the new guys, so maybe he'll be able to get a jump, stay out there long enough to maybe make some weight on the leaders here.
Well, he definitely wants to take this opportunity to try to lead a lap. That 1 point, always important when you're in the middle of a stage or a championship run. Matt Tucker, the 66, he is leading the field. Curious, I did not see him come into the pit. Can you confirm that he did or did not come down?
I thought we were sitting here talking about Alex McQuarter getting ready to lead the field, and sure enough, the 66 is going to be our leader, and I don't believe that he came in at all. So it looks like the 66 of Matt Tucker is going to forego a pit stop here after the first stage, and he's going to lead the field.
Hey, cautions breed cautions, and if Tucker can just lead a lap, get himself that point, that caution comes out, he goes in, gets tires, he's on his own strategy, and a couple of cautions later, or some smooth driving, which we've seen out of that 66, he can fight his way back up into that top 10 relatively quickly. Alex McQuarter is going to be in second in that 15. And looky, I found hooky Nate Maurer, again, top 3, as he's got that 971 on a rail. But his good buddy, Chris Cornett, 951 on the outside, is going to be in 4th. Sean Walton, the 23, going to be on the inside. And the 56 of Matt Novella is now part of this conversation, going to be 6th.
Yeah, you love to see that out of Matt, starting this, not the greatest qualifying effort, but starting in 14th, but all the way up in the top 10 at 6th now. Just exciting.
Now, Matt Novella, this guy, the last 2 weeks, has brought himself back into the championship conversation. He has 58 points behind our leader, David Owens, tied for 5th with Andrew Bolander. But a really good driver. He only has 11 incident points out of those 4 races, one of the lower incident point people. As we're looking at the pace car coming off of the track, Matt Tucker leading the field. He's on the outside. He's got Alex McQuarter under him, and they are coming into the restart zone, and we're going to go green here at Darlington.
Great jump by Matt Tucker. He's going to lead the field into turn 1 here, and it looks like if it stays the way it is, he's going to be able to lead a lap and get that point.
So important. 951, Chris Cornett. He is outside as well, following him in that preferred line. Alex McQuarter bringing up 3rd in the 15 car. Nate Maurer, Matt Novella going to be your top 5 as we see these cars starting to go single file so that they can run smooth and clean at the beginning of this restart of stage 2.
Yeah, a little further back, the 22 of David Brenner got a little loose there, was able to save it. No harm, no foul. Lost a couple positions, but he's going to work his way back up.
Well, he's got some stiff competition back there as he is right behind our series leader, David Owens, as these guys are starting to move and wiggle. David Cook, a little bit of a movement there, forcing Robert Babcock to go down low to avoid that foolishness.
And I love that from the 2 of Robert Babcock. He knows exactly what is coming, and he sees what is going on with the cars around him. Instead of trying to force an issue, get it out of the way, slow it up, regain your concentration, and just live to fight another day.
Lots of good driving back there as we see the 959 of Hunter Manley let off a little bit when Sean Walton tried to come up underneath him, let Walton take the pass, live to fight another day.
Yeah, and that is so important. And this league is built on past champions from different series, and there is a respect there from all the drivers to say, hey, listen, it's a long race, multiple stages, let's live to fight another day. Now, the first few laps were a little much, but we got under control, and we're good to go there.
Let's go back to the front and see what we're dealing with. Matt Tucker still has the lead, but the 951 of Chris Cornett will not let him get away. He's sniffing his tailpipe pretty much, telling him, you wiggle and I'm going to go right on by. I got better tires than you. Let's see what we can do with this. The 15 of Alex McQuarter right behind them, and Nate Maurer in striking distance running 4th.
If I'm being honest here, I believe Nate Maurer's just riding, as he likes to say sometimes. The 951 of Chris Cornett got really close to the 66 and looks like he just got a little tight. And I would say it's aerotight, pushing a little bit, able to keep it off the wall, but it's definitely getting interesting.
And if you're Nate Maurer, why would you not do that? You just took a stage win. You got fresh tires. You got a full tank of gas. Let's see what everybody else does. You got plenty of laps here to figure that out. But just as I say that, we see Maurer poke his nose underneath McQuarter and pass him for that 3rd place. What a clean move by Maurer.
Very clean, and I love how the 15 looked just like he said, you know what? I think I'm just going to let you have that instead of racing you right now because we're only on lap 57. Long race. He could have made it interesting, but instead go side by side in the corner and said, Nate, go ahead, buddy. I'll see you another day to fight a little bit longer and harder.
And Brandon, isn't that when other passes occur? If you and I start fighting and we're running side by side, those cars behind us are going to close that gap. And then when that car finally makes the pass, whether it's on the inside or the outside, he's not coming alone. He's going to bring a whole group of friends, and you're going to lose 2 or 3 positions all of a sudden because you tried to fight for that one position thinking you're going to win the race on lap 50.
You're so right. You couldn't have said it any better. He said, you know what? Take this one spot instead of me losing 3, because when you start getting side by side, the people behind you catch up. You're burning your own tires. It's just you're stressed out because you can't make a mistake, because it's not like Darlington's super wide where we can run 3 or 4 wide. It can be done running 3 wide. I don't recommend it. And so instead he goes, you know what, Nate? Let me save a little bit of my tires. I'll follow you. I'll learn something. And maybe at the end of this race, I'll have something for you that you're not ready for.
Hey, if you're going to follow a driver around and learn their line and what their points are, Nate Maurer is exactly the guy to do that. Won here last year, won stage 1. This guy's dialed in as we go to the front. Let's look at Tucker and Cornette. Making moves.
And it looks like Matt Tucker's going to back off just a little bit, and Chris Cornette's going to get past him going into the turn, and a clean exit for both of them.
Tucker had to do it. His tires are not exactly at 100%. The guy is basically just riding on a prayer here as he's hoping to see a caution so he can bring that car in. He got his points. Oh, and then we see the 951 go up on high as both of these guys, not with the 100% tires, but you know who did have 100% tires? The 971 making a move on Tucker on the inside.
Oh, Maurer has to check up there because Matt looked like he was a little unsteady on his feet, but Nate being Nate said, hey, go ahead. Go. I'm not going to fight you here. I know that my equipment's a little bit better than yours right now, and I'm going to just play the slow game.
And we see behind him the cars also with that respect as McWhorter backed off Novella, Bolander, and Cook. No one wanting to be part of an incident this early in the race backed off, and we see the cars hold position.
Yep, and that's just really smart. These drivers are just really handling themselves well. Now they've got a few laps under their belt. They know what the Lady in Black's going to give to them tonight. And so now they're just starting to think, hey, where do I want to be at the end of this stage? What am I running? What do I need to change? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? And so I like to see that, although they got bunched up a little bit there, as we see Nate Maurer trying to make that pass on Matt Tucker again, they were all smart about it and said, hey, let's just go single file and get some laps counted down.
Really interesting to see how cautious Maurer is being with Tucker, because it's not just the respect that he has for the driver and the track. It's also he does not know how that car of Tucker is handling. Periodically, Tucker will wiggle. Tucker will get closer to the wall, and Tucker's front end might dip down a little bit. Maurer does not want to be underneath when that happens.
I also think that Nate might be testing some different lines out here. Just want to see what the car's doing when he's in dirty air. And I think he's doing that to just taking notes. Like, okay, hey, I'm faster than him on entry or through the middle. And we got contact, and it looks like the 56 Matt Novella is going to turn and hit the inside of the wall.
Leader group having an incident, definitely the 56. Hard contact. Let's go back to that replay and see exactly what happened. Not what we were expecting as we're sitting there talking about these drivers' patience and wisdom. And no sooner do I say it's not going to happen than surprise, surprise, it does.
What I think happened there actually was, I don't know for sure, but I think someone got into the wall, which ended up making the 56 have some contact. We'll have to watch the replay.
Here we go. We're going to look at this replay as we see the 15. 56 of Novella. Oh, and the number 8, barely Bolander avoiding disaster. What a lucky man. He might not need a lucky dog, but he sure is a lucky dog avoiding that wreck.
I know it's unfortunate for Matt here, but what a great move by him for understanding he's wrecking, holding the brake down. Holding the brake down and not coming back up into the track. That's what we like to see out of our racers here in this league, because it just ruins things for everyone when we start trying to save things that we might not have the skill to save. But that's not something we have to worry about here at the Moonlight Racing League, because these guys know exactly how to handle themselves even in the worst situations.
Well, let's see what kind of damage we're going to see from some of these top cars. 56 of Novella, he went front end right into that inside safer barrier. So I'm not sure how much duct tape and hammering it's going to take to get that 56 back on the track, as we see multiple cars in pit road trying to get their things back on there. 28 of Joe Amato underway.
And I think I'm hearing now from race control, are those two actual teammates?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the word teammate. We saw a situation last week where drivers were teammates and friends, and then they made contact as one tried to get his lap back, and then no sooner do they become enemies than that same driver bumps the leader, allowing a lead change, and they become best friends again. So the teammates, I think, is a fluid word, and we can see that change in the heart in an instant, as all of these drivers are vying for these ever tightening points as they're making their way through this 13 race regular season. I'm your teammate, but I'm the lead driver. No, I'm the lead driver.
Well, that's exactly what it is. You are teammates to work through the field. You are teammates when someone from the outside beehive tries to come on in. But when it comes to getting that honey, I don't think there's any teammates to have.
The honey hole is only big enough for one car, and sometimes you want to be that guy. Under caution here at Darlington as we are making our way around the track. Chris Cornett still appears to be our leader.
Now we are on, I think we're coming to lap 68 here, but our first stage was very eventful. Second stage ending at lap 90. What do you expect to see out of some of these drivers? And not just the front drivers that we've been talking about, but what about some of the drivers in the back that maybe didn't have the greatest of qualifying effort and are holding their own here in the second stage? What do you think we're going to see out of some of those guys, maybe midfield or back of field, what they're going to try to do to set themselves up for a good finish?
Well, a couple of drivers that I'm really curious how they're going to react. The 98 of Joel Volpus. He's a strong driver. He's had kind of a rough run here recently, being the victim of a few unfortunate incidents, of which he could say was a race incident or he had no blame. Well, he was a lap down. He's fought his way back onto the lead lap, and he suddenly finds himself in that 14th position. Can he do something with it? Hey, how about Stephen Neal right behind him, the 45? We haven't talked much about him in the Greendale Community College call. This is a guy got no money. You know, he's worried about having enough tires, having enough gas to finish this race. In fact, from what I heard earlier, they were trying to repossess his car before the race. Wishing luck to Stephen Neal.
As we come to the restart zone, Mean Gene, take us into one.
And here we go, as Cornett is going to lead them through, and we are going green as they pass the flag, and they are going into turn one.
Nate Maurer right on the bumper of the 66. Everyone in the high lane except Nate, but again, I think he's saving here. He's going to move up, and it looks as we go through the back of the field, everyone's pretty much single file here.
Look at Andrew Bolander coming in with a strong fourth right behind Maurer. Bolander, guy didn't practice, guy didn't qualify. He says, I'm here to win races, and right now, running in that fifth position, he might be on to something.
I love to see that, especially when he says, I don't have time for practice. I don't have time for qualifying. Life happens, but now you're running 7/10 behind the leader in fifth place. How can you not love that?
Practice. Talking about practice. We're talking about practice. Not even talking about the race. We're talking about practice.
Now, one person that might want a little bit more practice, someone like, oh, we got Nate Maurer with a little bit of contact.
Ooh. That's got to bring out a caution. That was some hard contact into the wall.
That was the 957 of David Cook, who is a rookie on the series, but he did qualify second. And it looks
Cook
like he's
down. He's running slow.
He might be actually leaving this race due to some internet issues, maybe?
I'm not sure. There is some chat, and his car is now in the pit. Let's see how they're going to take it down there. No caution. They stay in green. as Cook is losing positions.
Yeah, Cook is falling to the rear here, and I hate that for David. He had a strong run, and I think he just maybe got a little loose, and Nate was right there. He did look to me from 10,000 feet away. He might have come down a little bit on the 971, and maybe Nate is now at the point where he's like, I cannot let Chris Cornett get too far away from me. I have to go.
Yeah, he has got to definitely stay as close to Matt Tucker as he can, as Tucker is unfortunately letting that lead get away. Cornette with a 1 second advantage. Maurer's got to make a move here.
So listen, Mean Gene, I'd like to introduce you to one of the drivers we've talked to tonight, and maybe just get his side of the story about what happened. Matt Novella out of the Care Center. How you doing, buddy?
All right, guys. How we doing tonight?
Well, tough race, out a little earlier. I know that you wanted to really work on moving to the front, staying at the front, and you were doing great. What happened?
Yeah, it just looked like the 15 got into the wall off at 2. Just some close racing. Just I had nowhere to go, and then neither the car behind me just got ran over. Just a racing incident.
Well, what a great attitude to have. I know it's frustrating. The lady in black, she will come up and bite you. And it looked to us that you literally had nowhere to go. The car in front of you maybe got sucked up a little bit, and then before you could react, I mean, your tires are already screaming at that point. You've already took the line for your exit with the maximum amount of speed that you can have, and it looked like you just couldn't turn down fast enough, and then as you got turned, the train kept a-coming.
Yeah, that's correct. I just had nowhere to go. Just either
Well,
did the
Matt,
car behind me and got turned.
We hate to hear that for you and your team. We're glad that you're okay, and we look forward to seeing you on track next week. We wish you the best.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep, good to hear you're doing okay, Matty. We'll see you next week.
All right.
A lot of contact on the track as we see David Owens trying to make his way up through the field. That car got loose. He had a little bit of contact with the 23 of Sean Walton as we see Walton trying to push his way past the 66 of Tucker. Owens, you can see nobody's near him right now. He was wiggling. Richard Swingle, that's a name we haven't talked about much. He is staying back away from Owens, waiting to see what's going to happen as we see the 23 get right on by Matt Tucker.
Yeah, and as that was all happening, we haven't talked about Richard Swingle, but he made a very clean pass on the 22. As we see the 959 of Hunter Manley passing the 22 as well. I don't know if the 22 is a little tight right now or if he's a little loose, but it seems like a few drivers are on the move past the 22. What about the 57? Can you talk to me about him?
Well, I think what we're going to see out of him is a little bit more competition. Thomas Fox running strong. This guy is known for consistency. He's not a fellow that's a flash in the pan. He's not going to run hard, get to the front, wreck his car. He's going to hunt you down. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's what we're seeing out of Thomas Fox right now. The guy ran pretty quick in practice. He chose not to qualify, which put him back in the field. So we're seeing that slow ebb as he is taking over these other positions. The 57 Thomas Fox. Ooh, little bit of contact with the wall right there, throwing everybody off. 97 goes down low to avoid it. And oh my word, you can see the beneficiary of that shooting through that rainbow car.
Wow, the 97 to 66, they are in. I mean, you could throw a blanket over all three of them. They're getting it straightened out now, but at one point, 3 wide here at Darlington, which was out of this world. The 97, Richard Swingle, we haven't spoke about him. We're talking about him now, and he is putting on a show. And as we see the 66 getting a little tight there, it looks like they're just making a move on him. And I'm glad to see the 22 of David Brenner got past, but he's not lost the pack.
No, and Swingle finally does make his way by Owens. Good pass there. And now we're looking at the 959 as well, trying to get underneath the 66. I think Matt Tucker is finally feeling the effects of not taking those tires on that break as we see cars just slowly eating him up. The 959 of Hunter Manley shooting by him. And then, ooh, aggressive turn down by Tucker, forcing David Brenner in the 22 to ease off.
All right, let's go back to the front for the battle for the lead.
And there's our man, the 900 numbers, 951, 971. These two guys, a couple of sharp-looking vehicles, I might add. Nice paint schemes by both drivers, fighting for position.
It looks like Nate Mauer's going to take a peek on the inside, but the 951 says, no, I think I'm going to take your air here. And, how do you not love what's going on between Chris and Nate right now? They are racing hard because, hey, in a couple laps, it's going to be the end of stage 2 at lap 90. Let's not forget. And why not try to sweep? And I think that's what Nate's doing. But did he burn up his stuff a little too soon, working his way back up? We'll have to see.
Chris Cornett, he spent that whole first stage watching the tail end of Nate Mauer, saying, where are you going? What is your favorite line? When are you letting off? When are you tapping the brakes? And when are you dropping the hammer? He knows. He knows what Mauer wants to do. And I think as long as that car stays together for him, if he's saved enough tires, I think he can hold Mauer off. And we're setting ourselves up for a heck of an end to stage 2. 951 into the wall just a little bit right there, but Mauer cannot take advantage as they continue to battle here at Darlington.
Man, he's into the wall again on the exit. I'm wondering if he's pushing a little too hard and Nate is just sitting back and letting him make mistakes, because Nate seems like he's still running the line that he wants to run, and he's just watching that 951. If I had to guess, the 951 is just going to stay high here. He's going to stay on the high line, make Nate Mauer use his stuff to go below him, because on exit, just taking that low line it just doesn't work out well unless you can set it up real well. And it looks like Chris is blocking, aero blocking right now, which is working.
Hey, I'll tell you what. You show me a driver that says he's not nervous of that 971 in his rearview mirror, and I'm going to call that guy Pinocchio. I mean, basically, when you feel the heat of Nate Mauer coming down, you know that you are about to be in a battle. It's basically like being in a horror movie and you're running through a field of chainsaws. It's midnight and you lost the keys to your car.
Richard Swingle just got past Sean Walton. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Sean has used up his stuff or if Richard just saved. Again, Richard started this race in 25th, did a little bit of practice, did not qualify, and now he finds himself in the 4th spot. This is incredible.
I mean, the 97 story of the race. But if we go back up to the front and look, the 51 and the 971, these two guys, they could basically reach out and shake hands how close they're getting in some of these turns, Brandon.
Oh, there's contact made by the 971. The 951 of Chris Cornett gets loose into the wall. The 971 with a huge run runs to the back of him, and Andrew Bolander right to the front.
Look at him go. He is running that hot Dale Earnhardt scheme from the Wrangler days, and he finds himself out there in the land of unbridled optimism, leading this race, looking for his stage win.
I mean, literally, the 951 gets up into the wall, 971 with a huge run on exit, and just gets in the back of the 951, and out of nowhere, Andrew Bolander says, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I'll go right through for the lead."
What a move to get through that mess by Bolander. Now, how about this, Brandon? You're Chris Cornett. You're running strong, but Nate Mauer's had enough of you. You're not in the lead. You're going backwards, watching Bolander pull away, whether it's because of tires or damage or that you've just worn your car out. The next time Mauer gets close, do you let him go, or do you think you can hold on and force that second place?
I'm holding on. I'm doing everything I can to hold on. I need these 9 points for the end of the season.
Unbelievable, and he does hold that outside line. You see Mauer peek his nose down, but the 951 went through that thing on a rail, keeps his distance, and look at them equally spread out with about 3 car lengths between them. The 8 of Bolander in first, Chris Cornett second, and the 971 Mauer in third. Caution, caution on the track.
That is for our stage. It looks like the 971's next to the 951, just showing a little bit, just trying to save a message, or send a message, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I mean, we did see a little bit of door contact between Mauer and another one of the drivers earlier. When he's done with you, he's done with you. And Chris Cornett, he has to know Mauer is a champion. He's the defending series champion. You're not talking about dealing with a Corey LaJoie out there. You're talking about the defending series champion and the winner of last year. When this guy's car is on a rail, you can't just get in his way and block and not expect ramifications.
You know, what's going to happen here is you got a lot of fast guys. You get a lot of, I don't want to say needy. I don't want to say needy because it's not the end of the race just yet. But now things are starting to change. Oh, remember when we were teammates? Not that these guys are teammates, but remember when we were teammates? Remember that beehive? I think people are looking for that number one spot, and it's getting awfully, awfully close as we enter the pits for service.
And neither one of those guys can be happy. They were both fighting for the lead, willing to take a chance. And guess what? Here he comes, sneaking on through. Andrew Bolander says, 10 points? Don't mind if I do. And the number 8 Wrangler finds himself winning that stage, taking those 10 points, and leaving our 2 900 numbers wondering if they're in the right area code.
Hey, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Chris, Nathan, you guys want to do that and race hard or race unclean or race clean, however you want to do it, that's fine. I'll just start 20th without practice, without qualifying, and I'll just go ahead and win stage 2. How does that sound? Because I think it sounds great to Andrew Bolander.
Hey, all I do is win. And speaking of all I do is win, David Owens snuck his way right up into that for that 6th place in points. Another guy to talk about we hadn't seen much of, David Brenner. Finishing 10th, getting him one little point. Oh, 9th, getting him 2 points. And Alex McWhorter, the earlier EOL driver, good for him getting back up into this thing.
Yeah, now, unfortunately, he was involved in that incident a little earlier. Not his fault, although he did get into the wall, but that's just the lady in black. Happy to see he still stayed in the top 10. Christopher Knott was like, hey, I'm here. I started 16th. But now I'm right here scratching the top 10, so it'd be interesting. Some of the other big movers, Stephen Neal started 30th. He finished that stage 15th. Obviously, Richard Swingle, we got to speak about him. I mean, 25th.
You know, Swingle was really impressive. I don't know if that guy was just playing follow the leader, but he had a lot of tire left and just kind of shot through those drivers to force his way up towards the front of the pack at the end of that stage. Really strong run. David Owens coming in again to the pit a little bit later than the other drivers. Hope he's okay.
Let's see if we can talk to the booth here and see if we can bring in Andrew Bolander to just see what his thoughts were on that great finish. Andrew, Brandon, and well, you know, people have called him many things. I personally just call him Mean Gene, but Brandon and Mean Gene up in the booth. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Well, I saw something that, you know, there's some things that go well together. Peanut butter and jelly, marshmallows and chocolate, I don't know, hot chocolate and cold weather, right? What do you think about what happened between Nate Maurer and the other driver? We haven't talked about him much except the whole time. But those two drivers, they get into it and you shoom right through.
Yeah, just be better to be lucky than good. I mean, I don't know what happened. I think one hit the wall and just like killed the other guy's momentum, and away we went.
Yep. Well, listen, we wish you the best of luck. Good luck. Next time we'll try to get you in here earlier. All right, so that wasn't the best interview, and you know, hey, I'm still a little new at this. We're working at it, Mean Gene. I apologize. I have 700 things on my screen. The most important thing, though, is this restart with Andrew Bolander and Sean Walton leading the field.
John Walton, this guy is just on the edge of greatness. He has been fighting every stage, run strong in the middle of them, but yet to find that W. All right, we see the pace car as he is off the track. Bolander, he's on the inside in the 8, leading him around turn 4 as they come into the restart zone. Hammered down, and Bolander with a strong jump. Mac Tucker coming with him as they go into turn 1.
It looks like the outside lane didn't get the jump they wanted, but we're all getting nice and calm here. It looks like our top 5 are going to be Bolander, Tucker, Walden, Manley, and Maurer. Looking forward to seeing how this last stage plays out.
I want to see what happens with Nate Maurer. He's had contact with a couple of people, and both times that contact has been on the right side passenger door of his car. This is not a guy that you want to play with. If he gets under you, it might be time to let him go. And then, you know what? Let off and accelerate. Try that crossover move. Maybe you give him a little bit of bump on that left rear. Who knows? But one thing is for sure, don't go side by side and think you're going to come out of it on top with Nate Maurer.
The 98 of Joseph Volpis gets a little bit loose, a little further back in the pack, sniffing the top 10, staying around there, but gets a little loose, able to save it. And, of course, right behind him is none other than David Owens. So interesting to see what happens here with him and if he can work his way back up after just a little bobble of the car.
Well, David Owens and Volpis are teammates with Gulf Coast Racing. David Owens often will use that front bumper as he is one of the top incident point collectors in MRL, Wednesday Night Xfinity League. But those bumps and incident points are usually on his front bumper. I don't think he's going to do it to his teammate here as he lets Volpis fall back into line.
Yeah, what a great move by him. And look, things are only going to heat up. We're about 58 laps until the end of the race, and I could foresee this going green, maybe some stops here and there, but it's absolutely going to get exciting here real quick.
Really fascinating to watch the fire coming out of the side pipes, the exhaust pipes, when the cars have different spots when they're hitting their brake and when they're letting off of the throttle. I think we can really see who's coming in hard, who's wearing out their tires, if that's something that you, the viewer, would like to watch. See exactly when these cars are letting off, because the later you let off, the harder it is going to be on that tire, and you're just going to be wearing out that right front.
It looks like the top 4, maybe 5, but that top 4 are really close. Are they all running the same line on purpose? Do you at this point say, you know what, I'm going to run the high line to try to save tires, keep them cool? Or are you saying, hey, I'm going to stay right with them, wait till they make a mistake, and then pounce when they do? Well, what would your strategy be?
I want to see where they're running. I want to see where my competitors...
Oh, trouble, the 8th round! Oh, caution is out for the leader!
My word, Brandon, did you see that? All of a sudden, the 8 is just going around. He's back going straight again, but that was not what you wanted to see out of one of our leaders this early in our final stage.
I mean, it looks like the 66 didn't even know what a brake was. It looked like he was on his bumper through the exit of the corner. And hey, listen, that's fine. But Matt Tucker, man, whoo, he ran right through him. 8 got a little loose and man, right through.
You know, this is an incident we saw happen last week at Milwaukee to Joe Amato. Amato was running down below, and he just kind of went on the high line, but he was running the same speed as he was on the low line. And you can't be up on that high line thinking that you're going to run that low line speed. And I think that might be a situation of what we saw here. Sure, the onus of safety is on that driver in the back to let off the gas, but you can't be in front of a top 5 driver and think that he's not going to be running hard.
You know, I wonder if this could have been avoided, but what if it was, I'm not saying it's a net code thing. I believe race control is sending the 66 to the rear. But man, I really hate that if it was net code. Not that I'm saying it was, because he was all over him.
It was an extended period of time that he was up on that tailpipe. But again, if I'm running top 5, we're running a certain speed on that top line, and you're going down, trying that bottom line, and then you come back up, and you're at a different speed, it's really hard to point fingers at that point.
Yeah, and it looks like, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending who you ask, the 66 of Matt Tucker is behind the wall, and they're already unlocking the hauler. So I think he might be done after that. I don't know if it's a little bit of humiliation, or if it's, hey, guys, my internet's bad, or if it's, hey, I messed up. I was just trying to, loosen him up a little bit, but I don't know. He looks like he's done for the night.
And here's a storyline we might want to talk about. Our fastest car in practice, Buddy Saley in that 21. I believe he's our lucky dog. I think that 21 is going to get back on the lead lap at this point, and that man was fast as lightning in practice. Be an interesting story to see what the 21 of Saley can do if he gets back on that lead lap.
Now, if he's not the I'm sorry, if he is not the lucky dog here, I'm not sure. But if he's not, do you think we see another caution to where he does get on and he can really showcase his speed that he showcased in practice?
Oh, that is tough. Cautions breed cautions. You tighten back up, and that's when you can actually see that other car door to door with you. And you think, hey, I'm on the outside. This is the preferred line. I'm faster than you. Get behind me. But the guy on the inside is thinking, hey, I got less track I'm going around. You need to get behind me. And that's when you see that door to door contact. So I don't want to say there's going to be another caution. We got a lot of really good drivers out here. But on the other hand, we got a lot of hungry drivers out here. And a restart can be exactly where you see a caution.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it turn of events here. Hauler doors are shut on the 66, and they're bringing him back on track. So we see the field getting lined up here for our last pace lap under caution here. We're going to be coming to 103, 52 laps remaining. I don't even know what to ask for except continue what we're doing. We are racing hard. We are racing close. And I think guys' patience are running out.
Really exciting to see the 66 get back on the track. It looks like Saley is going to stay one lap down. He'll be the next recipient of any lucky dog. So Matt Tucker's going to need 3 cautions to find himself back on the lead lap. But boy, that 66 was fast. Let's see how much duct tape and hammering it took to get him back on the track.
So now that we're on the Boeing, I'm sorry for cutting you off there, but the Boeing backstretch here, we got Nate Maurer up front on the outside. We got Chris, I'm sorry, Hunter. My thing's jumping all over the place. I am so sorry. The top few drivers are getting ready to go. Can you take us into one?
Caution, the pace car is off the track. The 23 of Sean Walton on the inside. 971 of Nate Maurer behind him. Hunter Manley, Richard Swingle, David Brenner, Chris Cornett. We are going green as they go into turn 1. Sean Walton in the lead.
Great jump by Walton. Absolutely great. But you know what? Nate Maurer right there. He knows, hey, coffee cup out the window. It's go time. As we see Richard Swindle falling back, I'm not sure what's going on with him.
It only takes one little wiggle to be eaten up, especially on a restart. Good gap. Good jump by Walton. Maurer sticking to him like a magnet, positive and negative charge. But you know what? I think right now Maurer might be the negative, and he is not the guy you want to fiddle with as he wants to get back-to-back wins here at Darlington.
There was somewhat of a hornet's nest between the 5th and 9th place. Looks like they're getting all single-filed now, getting under control, saving a little bit of tire. As we see the 15 making a move on Chris Cornett.
Really exciting racing as we go down. And I tell you what, let's look a little bit behind those cars that you just talked about, and guess who I see creeping into the top 10? The 98 of Joe Vulpes. This guy vanished after a bad wreck at the beginning, and suddenly he finds himself back in the top 10 as he's trying to chase down the Rooster Robert Babcock. 951 Chris Cornett ahead of him. Alex McCorder right ahead of him, a former EOL penalty recipient, and now the man is back in 6th place looking for a top 5 finish.
Yeah, I love this. Joseph Volpis really running a good race here. And not only that, but right behind him, Andrew Bolander, who sniffed the lucky dust, if you will, because he got himself a stage win, was up there until the 66 and him had some issues, which doesn't look like there to be an issue now. Obviously, the 8's trying to move forward, but the 66, if he could get some laps back, that would be great. Just all around, it's going to be exciting. We're coming to 109. Again, we're going to 155, and things are going to heat up real quickly.
Oh, it's a tight track. You make a mistake, you get tired, you reach for your drink. something is going to happen, especially once, like you said, it could be 10 laps of jerking that wheel too hard, and those tires are going to suddenly become an issue. These stronger drivers at the front, we've seen them run the 35 laps to completion, but that doesn't mean that the car is not giving them issues. And once you see them start to get side by side, that's when you're going to see that contact. And as ever, the lady in black's outside wall is beckoning like harpies, like sirens singing to a ship to come onto the rocks as they're out at sea.
Well, I'll tell you who's trusting his car and not listening to any sirens this evening is Sean Walton. I just saw him coming out of the turns 1 and 2, that long sweeping left turn, and he is so high on that track. It's a thing of beauty to watch. He enters a little bit low, floats the car up, but then he just stays on that outside. He'll bring it down maybe car length or two, which is probably the length of what you have to get a run. And I just feel like he is purposely doing that to A, take away air from Nate Maurer, as we see Nate is pulling up to that bumper, and B, maybe saving a little tire here for the end.
Oh, stealing that air, that is a premium veteran move. As we see Walton right in front, we've got that in-car view of Nate Maurer, and every time Walton wiggles that rear end and just spreads that dirty air on Maurer, Maurer is forced to back off or let off that throttle just a little bit. If we look a little bit further back in the path, these guys are intense. The 15 of Alex McWhorter, the 951 of Cornette, these guys are absolutely out of control as they are diving underneath each other, trying to get position. Hunter Manley and Brenner really lucky to get away from that foolishness as we just see McWhorter, Cornette, Babcock behind him. Once they tighten back up, they are going to be dicing. The 97 of Swingle, he's currently in 8th. The man was in 5th place 2 laps ago.
Contact from the 2. Contact from the 2.
I'm telling you what, the rooster is crowing hard right into the rear end of that 951 of Cornette. Cornette's used to being in the front. Let's see how he reacts to taking this abuse from behind, as the rooster might have found his chicken.
And listen here, Hunter Manley at the front, and Nate Maurer, Sean Walton all over each other. And I'm telling you, Nate is looking inside, he's looking outside, and then, Manley is just hanging out in back saying, hey guys, if you mess up, I'm going to be here, so mind your P's and Q's.
Hey, Hunter Manley's 12th in points. The guy won the season opener Atlanta. This guy's not a rookie. He knows what to do when he sees the window open, and that's what he's waiting for. He's looking at these two, Walton and Maurer, dicing and pushing. He knows Maurer is aggressive. He knows Maurer will use that front end to move you. And the same way that Bollinger came and swooped in and took that second stage win, Hunter Manley, his crew is telling him the same thing. Be patient. Watch what happens. Because if Maurer and Walton get together, we could see Hunter Manley take his second win of the year.
And that would be absolutely fantastic for Hunter. But I tell you, I think, I don't know much about the ins and outs of the 971 team, but I would be willing to bet that he is just waiting. He is being patient. He's waiting. He's not trying to push the 23 of Sean Walton, and he's just going to sit there because I have a feeling that Nate probably could have passed him by now and ran away with this thing, but he's just patiently waiting.
Maybe he's learned a little bit of something from those 2 previous contacts that he's had, because he knows if he runs his race, if he lets the car go around this track the way that it wants to, the way that he can pilot it, that he's going to have more tires than Walton at the end. And it's really on Walton to see, can he withstand this pressure? Because the 971, when he's in your rearview mirror, your heart starts beating. And he's underneath him right now. Look at this, Brandon. Look at this.
So now he looks underneath, doesn't make the move, but he slows down to try to get a good exit here. And then Hunter says, hey, you guys want to play? I'm right here. So he stays close. They are pulling away from the 22 of David Brenner a little bit here. But I don't think Brenner or Alex McWhorter or Chris Cornette are out of it by any means.
Well, if these three get side by side, I think we can quickly see Brenner, McWhorter, and Cornette come back into the picture. But right now, Nate Maurer reminds me of the high school bully. You're in homeroom, you're minding your own business, and guess what? That little slit in the window of the door, you're looking through, and guess who you see back and forth? That's right, the 971 of Nate Maurer, and he's peeking, and he's looking in there. And Sean Walton, he's got to keep his cool. He cannot start racing Maurer. He's got to race the lady in black. He's got to respect her and run his laps and hit his marks, or else he could find himself another victim of Nate Maurer.
They've been working so hard this race. Everyone, our top 5, our top 10. Everyone's working so hard, and for it to come down to you make that one slight mistake and the lady in black takes it from you and gets you a bad finish, you just don't want that. So you gotta really run your race here. Remember, it's all about the lady in black. It's not about Nate Maurer right behind you. It's not about David Brenner or Alex McWhorter staying back a little bit and then getting ready to pounce. It's not even about, hey, I'm Richard Swingle, Kyle Lynott, Stephen Neal, where we hung out at the end, and now we're going to make a surge forward. It's not about that. No.
Look at this move. It looked like the 23 feathered the gas and just let the 971 of Maurer shoot by him, and now he's doing the same for Hunter Manley. What is going on with the 23?
Yep, no, I think it really comes back to the lady in black. He probably ran his stuff and said, look, this is too much for me. I can't race her and race them. Let them go. They can battle out if they can. A third place podium finish is just as good as a win for me at this spot in my racing debut. Not debut, but again, we have to remember that Sean Walton, he qualified 5th. So coming home 3rd would definitely not be a bad thing for him and his team.
A lot of activity as we look further back in the pack. David Owens swerving and making a lot of moves as he's running with that lapped car of Buddy Saley. Owens needing to move up and maintain some semblance of a strong finish. He is our series leader. Owens winning last week at Milwaukee, currently in 9th place. As you can see how tight we are with the 8, the 66, the 2, and the 11. This is some intense racing. The 21 is a lap down, but that was the fastest guy in qualifying. I think if there was going to be a caution, it might be right here as we see this battle for 7th through 9th.
Yeah, I think the 8 here of Bolander is going to take that spot from the 2. The 2 looked like he just stayed low. I don't know if that was on purpose to say, hey, buddy, just go ahead. I don't want to wreck. I'm not sure. David Owens peeking inside. The 66, a couple laps down, slowing them up just a hair. But yes, the 21 being a lap down, Buddy Saley, I think he has to stay close, only because if we do see that caution, he's going to want to, A, not be in it, B, get his lap back, and C, how far he can go and move forward.
I mean, if he's not a lap down, the guy is running in the top 10 right now. And that's what he's thinking. He knows he's faster. You look a little bit farther back, he knows he's faster than Joe Bulpus. He knows he's faster than Richard Swingle. He's a lap down. It's unfortunate. Just hold your position, and you might find yourself back on that lead lap.
Now, as we are closing out lap 125 and coming to 126, that's going to leave us about 30 laps to go. And we should be seeing pit stops soon, I would assume.
Now, here is the question. Do you take the chance? Do you pit early, get that quick pit, and think you're going to make some fast laps? Because a fast lap ain't going to, the opportunity for a fast lap does not serve you well if you come out of the pits and you find a bunch of cars in your way.
Just as we're talking about pit stops, it looks like the 23 of Sean Walton slowed down to get into the pits, missed it. We do have the 971 on pit road, and I do believe David Brenner, the 22, is on pit road as well.
Quite unfortunate for the 23. Not the situation you want to be in, trying to slow down, come in the pits, and you just blast it. But on the other hand, if you go in there like a wild man, they're going to penalize you, and that's going to hurt you even worse. Walton going to have to come around again and see if he can make a clean entry into the pits as he's found himself falling back into the 6th position.
Now, I know we're all sports fans here, whether it be motorsports, stick and ball sports, or other sports. I will tell you, in my golf game, I sometimes, not often, or maybe more often than I think, find myself in the rough, and you have to remind yourself, let me just take my medicine. And that's what the 23 needs to do here. You missed pit road, you blew it, you were too fast, but now you're slower than everybody else on the track. Take your medicine, get some composure, come in next lap, pit, and try to finish this race strong.
And look at this action right here by the 11 going underneath the 8 of Bollinger. He's bringing the Rooster with him, and they are awful close to that wall as these tires are starting to get really slick. Owens pulling away the 8 of Bollinger behind him, and you can see the 2 holding his position, and the 21 wanting his lap back, praying for a caution. But for now, he's running up there with those top 10 drivers.
Yeah, Buddy Sally here has to be very clean, has to stay out as long as possible, and unfortunately, but fortunate, hope for a caution.
You know, speaking of golf game, it reminds me, I played with my friend last weekend. He hit it off into the woods, couldn't find his ball. He told me to play on. He hit his ball, and it went right on the green, and I thought to myself, do I pull his ball out of my pocket and call him a cheater, or do I just let him get away with it?
Well, you know, in that sense, are you building character for your buddy, or are you letting him just sweat it out a little bit?
Hey, this ethics lesson brought to you by Wrangler and Lowe's as we watch the 2 and the 8 battling for position, Bollinger and the Rooster, Robert Babcock.
Can I just tell you, Robert Babcock and the number 8 of Andrew Bollinger, I love watching these guys race because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get such a clean race from those guys. And although some days you get heated up, but they just race so well together, and it's fun to watch. And we see someone in the wall just a little further here. It is the Kyle Lynott 988 machine. He got into the wall, but it looks like he's going to be okay for now.
He's going to keep running it. You can see the 98 of Volpus right ahead of him. 988 keeping his car on the straight. Lots of pits starting to come about. 22 shooting right on by the 988. I think we're going to see that 988 here coming into the pits really soon. You cannot afford to be losing seconds.
No, yeah, and you can watch the 22, the 22 of David Brenner and the 15 of Alex McClure. They are just making it easy through these guys. You can just see how much deeper they can go into the corner and how much faster they're going out. You know, as I get it, let's stay out to have the freshest tires for as long as possible. But when does it become like, hey, I got 22 laps to go, I need to come in like now? As we see the leader of 951 of Chris Cornett coming in to make his service now on his car.
And still Will needs a bit, but David Owens takes the lead. The winner last week at Milwaukee, our points leader, David Owens, finds himself in the front, and that will secure him the 1 point for leading a lap. And we'll see what No Chill himself can do as he finds himself the leader, starting to threaten to put another car a lap down.
Yeah, it's always a great feeling when if your race doesn't go as well as you wanted to, or you just didn't find the groove, it's always nice to get that point and at least not leave with nothing.
Now, really hoping to avoid a caution as some of these cars have pitted. David Brenner leading the... Oh, speaking of David Brenner, the 22 and the 23 of Walton coming into contact.
Yeah, it looks like they just got into it, coming in out of the or going into the corner, halfway through the corner. They're side by side, and unfortunately, Walton just, you know, it's bad but getting worse.
That was a hard hit.
Yeah,
and, you know, Brenner had fresh tires. Walton not so much, and then we're going to see him force Brenner back into the pits after taking that damage to the right side of his car.
Yeah, and you hate to see it for all involved, but you know, Brenner's got to go, and so it's just it's the real estate that wasn't there for either one of them.
Tight contact here as we are coming into this last bit of racing after their final pit stop.
Yeah, it looks like Brenner is just on a mission right now. He is passing the 11. to get his lap back, even though I don't believe the 11 has pitted yet. So that'll cycle through, but right on his tail is the 15 of Alex McWhorter, and it's getting tight here. And it's
Alex
going to be fun to watch
McWhorter
him.
is chasing hard, a former end-of-line penalty recipient, and now suddenly he finds himself one of the fastest cars on the track, chasing David Brenner. David Owens, the 11, still our leader, but these guys... Oh, contact! The 15 hits the rear of Brenner, says, excuse me, sir, I won't do you like Austin Dillon did Joey Logano, but I definitely am tired of you being in front of me. And the 15 of McWhorter is the fastest car that's already made a pit stop.
Yeah, it looked like the 66 of Matt Tucker was a little bit, it was in the way. I don't know. But Brenner goes down low, gets a little bit loose there, hits the 66, and goes hard on the inside.
Owens getting a little bit loose up into the wall. Tucker, again, a slower vehicle, making problems for these other cars come charging up as the 22 of Brenner says, please let me get away. I've got fresh tires. Give me this fresh air, and please just go away from me.
Yeah, they really need to get going here because the longer they stay in this, I would say, gaggle, the worse it's going to get for them. He needs to start pulling away, and he needs to start not worrying about what's beside. He needs to go because we're not racing.
Wow, what a block in the back right there. Brenner finally clear, and you can see as he gets by the 88 of Steve Lewis, starts to get through there. Steve Lewis, 3 laps down, not sure why he was blocking Brenner. Maybe that's some teammate communication there, not really sure, but Brenner adroitly makes his way through that mess and finds himself back on the pace to try to catch the faster McWhorter.
Yep, we got 15 to go here, and back to what we're saying. What if they just don't, race together enough to know what each other's going to do? And maybe the 88, maybe it is a teammate, maybe it's not. I can't tell you, but maybe he's just like, I'll go low and give him the preferred line, and it just didn't work out.
David Owens swerving all over the track. This guy has got to come into the pits. There's no way he can make this thing last.
I don't know how.
Just swerving all up and down that track. Andrew Bolander, second place, 5 car lengths behind him. What are these guys thinking? Can they force this many laps out of their car on this last stage?
I mean, they're going to have to get super aggressive, and by being aggressive, I mean they have to make that car 6 lanes wide, because when those new tires come, if they decide to stay out and not pit, when those new tires come, it's going to be a freight train passing a standing still pebble.
I mean, I've heard of Native Americans doing a rain dance. Is there a caution dance? And if so, I think we could see the number 11, his team, in there doing it. Now, 11 cutting down hard. Looks like he's going to come in.
Yeah, and I think a good finish here is better than trying to stretch it out and see or cause a caution.
Absolutely. We see on the track the 28 of Joe Amato slipping by Robert Babcock. Amato is a few laps down. So that's not for position.
Right. That's going to cycle Andrew Bolander to our lead with Robert Babcock, Joseph Volpis, Nate Maurer, who has made his pit stop in service. They're going to be top 4, and David's going to continue to fall back here. And now we're racing for the win here.
Look at the 971 of Maurer running strong. He's got the 98 of Volpis right behind him. I believe Volpis is going to need a pit stop. But hey, you've had a heck of a day. You've been in the back all day. Why not do the rain dance and pray for that caution and see what you can make out of this?
Yeah, Nate Maurer's making easy work of these guys, which you have to. You're one of the fastest guys on the track anyway. You have your fresh tires. You've already made your last pit stop, or the money stop, if you will. It's time to go. Let's not play any more games. Let's cut that 8 seconds down to me being the leader and putting 8 seconds on second place. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do.
We are in the in-car cam right here as we see how quickly these cars with new tires can close that gap.
Yeah, and as we see Maurer there, he is just slicing through these
Whoa,
guys.
3 wide for just an instant.
Yeah, but that's Kyle Lynott and Robert Babcock. Those guys are professionals when it comes to racing in this league. They're gonna leave plenty of room, like, as you saw. And Nate Mauer's just gonna run away with this thing. He's not working through traffic at this point. People are being respectful and mindful that he will be the leader, and he might take this one home with less than 10 to go here.
Yep. Looking at Stephen Neal also, he is the first car lap down, finds himself in 9th place. Really good run for Stephen Neal.
Well, as there's a slight lull in us going back and forth, just because as you are watching this, we are watching this live, and we are fans. You know, we love watching these guys week in and week out, and then sometimes you find yourself muting yourself just to watch the excitement of the race, and you hope that you get an exciting race like we've had tonight. Andrew Bolander's still in the front here. He's got a lead a little over 4 seconds. I don't know if Nate has enough time to catch him. It'll be interesting to see how Andrew gets through this traffic.
Going to be interesting as Nate finds himself chasing right behind Joe Amato and the 66 of Matt Tucker. Matt Tucker has been in front of a few cars, much to their chagrin. The question is, will he stay in front of our leader? Bolander coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a game changer for Nate Mauer, who's going to take the lead.
Nate Mauer now taking over the lead as we come to lap 150 with 5 to go. We've been saying it all night. Who is the class of the field? Who have we seen race clean, race smart, and try to tame the track, not so much the other drivers? And we've kept coming back to Nate Mauer, the 971. Like I said, I got to speak with him. He said, hey, I'm good here. I'm comfortable here. Let's go try to get a win tonight. And I said, I wish you the best of luck, buddy. And although it's not over, I don't want to jinx him. He's been running a really clean race.
971 running strong. He's got a nice 6-second lead over the second place car of the Rooster Babcock. Andrew Bolander in the pits. Going to see him come out in a second, see where he rocks around. Chris Cornett in the 951 currently running third, and Hunter Manley, the 959, running in fourth place. We can see those cars a good distance behind, trying to chase down our leader, Nathan Mauer, looking to repeat here at Darlington.
Yeah, it looks like Nate's going to go low here, let some of these guys get their laps back, which is fantastic. And these guys, what I like seeing best is when I look at the top 10 here, I'm looking at guys that started this race in 12th position or worse. And maybe it's on purpose, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they just didn't have the qualifying trim that they needed. But specifically, Hunter Manley. I mean, I can't get enough of the 959. He started 15th. He's up in 4th. He's been running there all evening long. And he's a rookie to the league. You just love to see that.
And what a rookie he is. I mean, once again, the guy won in Atlanta the very first race. He's currently 12th in points. So this is a fella that we expect to just get better every race. And that's what we're seeing from him today as he is in fourth place. He's 12 and a half seconds back of our leader, Mauer. But still, being behind Nate Mauer at Darlington, that's everybody on the field.
Yeah, Nate has put back all but 6 drivers a lap down. 8th place of Stephen Neal, who's a rookie to the league. He's a lap down, but he started 30th. He's running 8th. You love that. Bolander, he actually cycled from 1st to 9th. Started 20th. He's in 9th. Richard Swingle, we've talked about him this evening. He's ran a strong race. Started 25th and 10th.
And he's got Joe Volpus behind him. If Volpus can close that gap, we might actually see a race out of those two. And right ahead of them, you see Alex McWhorter in the 15. McWhorter on the lead lap running in 6th place. A lot of good action there. But the story of the day, 971 and Nate Mauer. This guy was on a rail.
Well, he absolutely was. And, you know, as he's coming out of 4 now, it looks like the 971 and that Toyota is going to take the checkered flag here. Unbelievable
night for Nate Mauer. You know, he won this series last year. The guy won Darlington last year, and he was not running very strong. 14th in points coming into this race, even though he did get that second place. You know, he only has 2 starts on the season. He missed Sonoma, which cost him a lot of points overall in that championship run. You know, getting the win, though, that is going to put him right in it at Texas. That gave him the win. That put him in the championship race. And now this race today is just going to propel Nate Maurer back up into being one of your championship favorites.
No, you're absolutely right. And if I had to make any preseason guesses, I would obviously say Nate Maurer is going to be a little bit of the talk of the town because week in and week out he brings the very best. And
And
I'm just excited to see him, and I'm excited to talk to our top 3. So let's get to it. What do you think?
absolutely. Burning down the house, the 971 with the win.
Yeah.
Bringing into the booth right now, the number 23 of Sean Walton. Not exactly the finish that you were looking for after such a strong start. You were definitely one of the fastest cars on the track in the stage 2, Sean. How you feeling?
Pretty terrible. Pretty bad.
Pretty terrible, Sean. Why is that? We see you in the 22 had a little scuffle at the end. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Just car on fresh tires, has no patience, just runs me over, puts me in the wall, ends my day.
Okay, so you feel that the 22 of David Brenner, he had some issues, and so afterwards you want to let him know your displeasure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just uncalled for. Just pushing that hard. Wrecking somebody who's...
I can understand that. Would you say that you had more trouble with some of the drivers on track, or would you say you had more trouble with the actual track, Our Lady in Black?
Both ways. I mean, I did mess up entering pit road, but it's like, I mean, I was just trying to. He took out 2 people, not took out, but wrecked 2 people, doing the same thing in the same turn, just not being patient enough in the corners. That's really.
So a lot of frustration out of the 23. Sean, we appreciate you stopping by. We watched you race. We saw that the 971 was behind you for a little bit, Nate Maurer. I don't know if that was a planned thing or if you just were like, hey, Nate, watch me go around here, teach me something. But we saw you out front. Unfortunately, didn't have the finish that you wanted. We appreciate you coming in to say hi. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll see how this plays out next week.
Yeah, Sean, definitely one of the faster cars on the track in stage 2. Looking forward to seeing you on the smaller tracks and the bigger ones moving forward. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, that
really
is
unfortunate day for him.
Absolutely unfortunate. So, hey, I have a question for you. Can we talk to the 959 of someone I've mentioned probably 100 times tonight, Hunter Manley? Hunter Manley, how you doing, buddy?
Happy to be here. Good actual finish. I actually made it to the second lap this time.
Hunter Manley, you're making jokes, my friend. You won the season opener at Atlanta as a rookie. Put your name on the map. 12th in points. Going to definitely move up after today's finish. Give me your outlook on what you saw today.
Honestly, I don't think I pushed the car to the limits once, but that's just kind of how this track is. It's just, hey, be consistent, and I could tell some people were really fast early on, and it came back to bite them, and I was like, I don't want to do that, so a lot of me was just riding around, and I mean, it worked. It was one of those, we just kind of followed the leaders, and I think I messed up by pitting just a few laps behind whoever was in first at the time, and fell too far back, but overall, it was a fun race. I enjoyed it.
I mean, you qualified 15th, so you got to be thrilled at finding yourself on the podium. And I got to tell you, from here in the booth, super exciting. Yeah, you did finish. You're about 13 seconds behind our leader, Nate Maurer. But, man, you were only half a second behind the second-place car, Chris Cornett. Did you think you could catch him, or was it a matter of, let me just keep my position over Robert Babcock and take a podium?
So it was a little bit of both. I saw he came up with like I think 10 to go, and he was about 3/10 faster consistently, and I figured he had fresher tires. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let him go. So I think coming into one, I drug the brake just a little bit more than usual, let him clear, and then I figured it would be faster for both of us, just to wide open versus trying to side by side it for not a race win. It's like I'd rather go try to run down the leader than race side by side, and I think I want to say Babcock ran out of gas off of 4, because we were about a half a tenth back, and then off of 4 he just stopped. So I don't really know what happened, but yeah, that was my plan, was just let whoever got second go and then follow up and see if we could go run down the leader, which we had no chance of.
Well, that was a masterful run, Hunter. You're a rookie this year. We have enjoyed seeing you progress, and we expect to see a whole lot more from the 959 of Hunter Manley. So, Hunter, you going to keep that number for the rest of the season?
Absolutely not. I cannot stay at triple digits. I got it in under way too late today, so it's my fault for not getting the number changed. But I expect to be in the double digits next week.
What are you going to be? Can you tell me what number you're going to be, or is it a secret with your sponsors?
We have decided on the 26 car. After what was available, we figured we could honor Ricky Bobby in this one, so we're gonna roll.
Hey man, you just want to go fast. Thanks for coming and joining us today. Have a great rest of your night.
Y'all too. Take it easy.
All right, in second place, not always the bride or bridesmaid, whatever you call it, I don't know. Another rookie to the season, the 951, racing around in the Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro, Chris Cornett. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How about y'all?
Man, you put on a hell of a show. We loved it from the drop of the green flag, the top 5. You were flirting top 5 the entire night, even just between you and Nate. Racing hard. It was a lot of fun to watch. Maybe not so much in the cockpit, but a lot of fun to watch. You qualified 4th. You bettered yourself by 2 positions, finishing 2nd. How was your night? How'd you feel it went for you from start to finish?
The first stage was I pushed it a little bit harder than I wanted to, and just burnt my right front up, and just was tight through there towards the end. I'm glad I still came home with a 2nd in stage 1, but I was trying to get the stage win, but didn't want to wreck Nate for it. But after that first pit stop after stage 1, my car was just gold all night.
I gotta ask you, Chris. There was a moment in the end of that stage too, when you and Nate got together and we saw the 8 of Bollinger come through for that stage win. What was going on in your head at that moment? Was that your stage to win and he got aggressive? Was that his stage to win and you hiccuped? Or what exactly was going through your head when that transpired?
It was just, I pushed it right there at that moment. I just pushed it a little bit harder and got tied off of 2 and just try to keep it out of the wall, but I still got into the wall. But I kind of just, that was my either mine or Nate's stage to lose, and I just basically cost it for the both of us. I hate that and didn't want to. I was racing him clean, trying to anyway. That's the type of driver I am. I race people clean with respect. I make mistakes here and there, but I know he was frustrated with it, and it just didn't mean to, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he still came home with a victory, so I want to congratulate him. And I guess I just 2nd place all night. I guess 2nd.
You know, Chris, we watched you race all night, my friend, and you run clean. You were in some tight situations. It was almost 3 wide at a couple of points in that race, and you were given and you were taken. Nobody thinks that you're doing anything aggressive. 2nd place, and especially considering the year 12th coming into this thing, you got to be excited with your point prospects as you move forward in this season.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like each race I'll get better. I know I missed the first 2 races because of my computer getting fixed, but I came back at Sonoma top 10. Last week top 10, and this week top 5. So I feel like I'm getting better each race, and hopefully I can come up with a victory one of these races.
Hey, one last question for you, Chris. You're running that 951 right now as a rookie. Can we expect to see a new number on the side of your car soon?
Next week.
What are you going to run? Can you tell me, or is it a factory secret?
Thinking about the 44, which was my dad's number. So that looks like it's open. So I'm gonna try to take that one.
Living the legacy, my friend. Chris Cornett in the 951, going to be in the 44 coming forward. My friend, thank you so much for the show you put on tonight. Thank you for the interview.
Appreciate it.
Mean Gene, let's take it to tonight's winner. The man, the myth, the legend. There is no single or double digit for him. The 971 and the Toyota Supra, I believe it's the DZ or DSR electric Toyota here. He'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but Nate Maurer,
We're not
winner.
worthy. We're not worthy. Nate Maurer.
How you boys doing? It's DSR Electric. Big thanks to Dan.
DSR Electric.
yeah,
There we go. Get
DSR
those
Electric.
sponsors out there.
Yeah, big thanks to Dan Gobble and Jeff Sickles. They sponsored me in 2 other leagues. Pay for everything. Great guys. So I run them in here, even though this is free. But great guys, DSR Electrics. Good people there.
Well, they're obviously got a good head on their shoulders. One, for having a successful business, and two, saying, hey, we need someone that's going to be in the front when they want to be in the front, which is the start and the end of the race. Nate, I picked you to win this thing. We both actually did. You were smooth as butter. And, you know, I'm going to start calling you a roll because you were just a butter on a roll. And, you know, it was just fun to watch. Did look like to us at one point you and one of our other gentlemen that were just on here, Chris Cornett, got into it a little bit. Now, you know, I think he said that, oh, it was my bad. I apologize. I hope we can move forward. But, you know, in race things sometimes can heat up, but after race things, especially after getting the win, might cool down. What's your thoughts, Nate?
Yeah, just heat of the moment thing. I rarely make mistakes here at Darlington, and I know what happened. He was pushing because I was on. I mean, I was setting up for a pass. I was just kind of practicing what I had to do there with a few laps that we had. He was looking at his review. It happened to me here before a couple times, and you just gotta race the track here and give whatever the car can give you. And he just tried getting a little bit more out of the car than what the car had left in it there for that run. But no, I mean, it was fun racing him. I love the new guys that we had in there. That rookie, I forget what his name is now, Manley Hunter. He had me a little worried there towards the end of that race. He was kind of keeping up with me there. He was only 3 or 4 tenths back. But I apologize for Chris for I guess I kind of yelled at him. I kind of feel bad, but you can ask anybody in here. Brandon, I've raced with you for a couple of years now. You know I'm one of the probably top 3, top 5 cleanest drivers in here. So hope Chris don't get the wrong concept of me coming to the radio and being unhappy. And I'm pretty sure if I was in front of him and I did the same thing, he'd be unhappy with me too. But
well,
shit
I
happens
think
and we move on to the next.
Yeah, Nate, I think everyone knows in the race things get heated, but the most important thing is that we learn from each other. And like you said, there could be a DM later, there could be a public post later saying, hey, look, this was my bad. It always seems to go better for both parties a couple minutes, maybe a day or two afterwards. But yes, I've had the pleasure of being on track with you, Nate, and seeing the rear view of any car that you're driving, which is fun for me. I learned something new, and it's just a pleasure to watch you tame this untamable woman who is dressed in black. And I tell you, absolute pleasure to watch you, because I know at some point, I even said it on the broadcast, I was like, I think he's just sitting back and learning and just trying different things. And so in race, you're studying. Before and after races, you're studying. You come out here and you execute, and it's just an absolute pleasure. So congratulations, and we can't see what you have in store for the rest of the season for us.
Hey, Nate, I got to ask you this, bud. You know, you
Yeah,
came
buddy.
into this thing in 14th position in the standings, but you missed a race. Now you find yourself in 6th. You were 97 back of David Owens. Now you're 75 behind him. You made up 22 points in one race. Is that regular season championship still in your grasp?
I don't. I look at the big picture. I honestly, I didn't race last week because I don't really like that road course, and so I just enjoyed the night off. You know what I mean? Actually, I think I might have missed. I think I might have missed 2 races. This is only my 3rd start out of 5, so I missed back-to-back weeks. I missed Milwaukee Mile in this week, and last week. We won 2 of the 3 races that we started so far this season. But see what happens. I mean, dude, I'm glad to see some of the heavier competition coming in here. Like I said, Chris, there was another guy too. Me and him kind of got into it there in 3 and 4. His car was jumping back and forth. I don't know if you guys could see it on the broadcast. I was under him, and it looked like his car jumped. And
Yeah,
like,
the 20. I think you're talking about the 23 of Sean Walton, perhaps.
no, it was another newer guy. It said rookie, I think. I can't remember who it was now, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I won a championship last year. I probably would have won the year before, but some big family things came up. I couldn't race the championship race, but my teammate went out and won it, so that was good. But see what happens here. We're going for the main championship. Not the if the regular season falls in our lap after missing a couple of races, and it'll fall in our lap.
Well, I tell you what, if you can put that thing on a rail the way that you did tonight, we're expecting nothing but big things from the 971 of Nate Maurer. Nate, thank you so much for tonight's race. Amazing run, my friend. Congratulations on the win here at Darlington.
Congratulations, Nate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks to just want to say thanks to Brandon and I want to say it's Jerry, not Gary.
Mean
But,
Gene, baby.
Mean Gene.
I just just thanks for broadcasting this, guys. I appreciate it. And sorry to Chris, and just want to give a shout out to Womp Womp. Everybody knows who Womp Womp is. The good old Sean Walton. He did really good. I know I could have passed him right away when I was behind him, but I was just letting him kind of feel what it feels like to be out front there, and he did really good. But congrats to everybody in here tonight.
Thank you, brother. You have a great evening. Congratulations.
You too, guys.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up. Race 5 of 13 for the Moonlight Racing League Wednesday Night Xfinity Series, as we see the big victory by our defending champion, Nate Maurer, as he takes the win and leads us down this road. Race 5 of 13 next week. We will be back again. Myself, Mean Gene, Brandon, and KK in the pits. Brandon, any parting thoughts?
Oh my goodness, what a great race. So exciting. I had an absolute pleasure with you, Mean Gene. Behind the scenes, KK, we appreciate all the hard work and dedication you have to the Moonlight Racing League. Guys, what a great night. What a fun night of racing, and I'm looking forward to the exact same thing next week.
That's going to do it for us. God bless America, and God bless you. Good night, everybody.